Hi there, welcome back to my channel Scrap and Coffee. I'm going to start a tutorial for the double-sided folio, a project that I did as a guest design team member for Nitwit digital collections. You can find a link and a coupon code for that down below in the description box. And if you haven't seen the completed project yet, I will put a link on top, so if you click on it, it will bring you to that video. So I'm going to work with craft, and as you can see, I've been doing quite some preparations. I've been inking it all up with vintage photo distress ink to give it a little bit of a vintage look. And we are going to start with piece A from the cutting guide, and the cutting guide is available on my website. It's a free PDF download. I will put a link down below in the description box as well. So this piece has, let me count, 6 score lines. Let me catch that in the light. And I have the 2 middle ones with a 1/4 inch in between. I'm going to fold on those towards the bumpy side of this piece. And let's do that as straight as we can get it, right? Okay, so this is what we've made. And now on the first score line from that folded, I'm going to pull back on towards the dented side, so be careful. What we can also do is fold it first towards the bumpy side. I always find that a little bit easier for some reason. So I'm folding it towards the bumpy side, but then I'm going to pull back on it because I want it to go towards the dented side. And I'm using here 80 pound weight cardstock, craft cardstock from Basel, and if I pronounce that correct. So I would recommend 80 or 100 pounds. So I have made, let's do that here as well, on the same thing on the other side, right? So now I have this. And then we have one more score line, the outer score line. We are going to fold on that one towards the bumpy side. So we make that 1/8 inch gusset happen there. So then when we fold it on all these score lines in the right direction, and I'm going to try to show it to you. You want to have this shape. That's what you want to see. Now what I need to do is I need to ink this piece up. So that's going to take me some time. I won't put you through all of it. But I'm just going over the edges. Although this is what we are going to cover up. So mostly the folds. And I do that on both sides of this piece. Okay, I quickly washed my hand because, well, they're still a little bit discolored, but I had that ink everywhere. So for preparation, what I will also do on the outer 1/2 inches, I'm going to place some double-sided tape. And of course you can use wet glue for construction, right? It's totally fine as well. Okay, and once that is on, I'm going to taper that 1/2 inch. So I start cutting at that at the 1/2 inch score line. The rest you want to keep it straight. And I always start cutting at my score line, so my piece is always going in several directions for that. There we go. And you will, if you are doing this, you will notice that your cardstock is, you can all see it maybe a little bit. By inking it, you soften it up a little bit, so it's not as sturdy as it was. I have been thinking about using something on here for making it stronger, like Tyvek or Craftex, but because I want to have that vintage look, that was a little bit difficult. So next up, for all the pieces that we are going to work with, you are going to have 2 of each. So I have 2 pieces B, and your tape is going on the bumpy side, so where you can feel the score line coming up. And let me see how well this is going to fit. But I think I'm going to give these pieces a light taper, and what that I mean is I'm going to cut at a really slight angle. I just want to make sure that this 1/2 inch is not overhanging. And I might, no, I'm going to cover this up with some pattern paper, probably. Okay, will be good. Just that little bit there. Because I cannot help myself. Okay, so what am I going to do? On this piece, I'm going to fold it in this way. And I'm going to attach it on the inside with the 1/2 inch on top of each other. So from that 1/4 inch. So what the easiest way to do is to fold on the score line here. So fold that 1/8 of an inch gusset underneath your piece and turn it. Turn this piece over, and I'm going to of course remove my tape backing there, and then I'm going to align this piece on top of that 1/2 inch where I'm still able to see the score line of piece B. So if you want to feel more comfortable in doing this with wet glue, you can of course do this also with wet glue. Maybe that was a better idea actually. So I'm just placing it next to that score line and line up that bottom. Here we go. So that is piece number 1. So for the second piece, and I'm going to do that on the same side, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to fold where I put my 1/8 inch gusset underneath this piece. Turn that over, so now I can see that 1/2 inch and that 1/8 inch. Remove my tape backing from piece B. And place this on top of there where I can still see that score line. And it's large pieces, so that makes it even a little bit more difficult. So just take your time, don't be too hard on yourself, and give that a burnish. And this, and we are going to close it like this. So we have these 1/2 inch flaps on the outside. And I'm going to put this to the side for now. Because next up we are going to have pieces C. So again, 2 pieces. I only inked one side, so I'm going to turn it over. You see the difference? And we have 2 pieces of D. And piece D has 2 score lines. And I've placed tape on the dented side on my 1/2 inch flaps. Inked everything up. I'm going to fold and burnish. And we are going to make pocket pages out of this one. So you're going to line piece D up with 3 sides of piece C. And then I see I do need to ink here a little bit. Oh boy. So lining it up on 3 sides, I remove the tape backing here a little bit. I line it up with the edge where I haven't inked because it's not necessary. Just make sure I'm straight. Stick that. Hold it in place. And then I remove the rest of the tape backing, and then I can remove it on the other side. This is for me the easiest way to do this. And I'm never really quick with this. I'm always taking my time to line it all up. Okay, so these pages are going on this 1/2 inch here. So the first one, I'm going to give this a dry fit. And I want it to go up to that score line where I'm still able to see the gusset there. And I see that I haven't tapered very well, or my page is a little bit on the short side. So that is why I'm giving it a dry fit. So I'm just cutting it down a little bit further. And then I can see if it fits a little bit better. Where did I do that? On this side, right? And that's way better. Okay, so then I like to remove the tape backing here on one side, and that's usually the outside. Slip that pocket over there. Bring it to that score line on both sides. And stick that. Then I go to the other side of this page, get a tool to peel away the tape backing on this side of that hinge. And there we go. So this is one. Then I go to the other side and do the same thing with my other piece C and D. And just make sure that it fits. Yes, there we go. So tape backing from the outside and then slip it over. Make sure it's not sticking before you want it. And normally I would turn it around because it's just so much easier for me. So why am I not doing that? Make sure I'm not going over the score line. And again, peel away the tape backing on the other side. Easy peasy, right? Here we go. Okay, so this is what we've got so far. So next up we have pieces E, and pieces E have two score lines with a 1/4 inch gusset. So you're going to fold and burnish on both those score lines. I've already done that for the inking. And I'm going to taper that 1/2 inch. Hiding construction. It's just a little detail, but I am the type of person that is highly annoyed when these 1/2 inch strips are hanging over from my page on the top or on the bottom or both. And this is just a small quick thing that you can do to prevent that. So I'm going to fold on the 1/2 inch score line. Like that. I can still see the gusset. I'm going to, and it doesn't really matter on what side you start, but I like to do it on this side. So I'm going to have my spine here, open up piece D and C, and I have piece B here. And I am going to place piece E on the cut edge of piece B. All those letters. Okay, so remove the tape backing just a little bit. I try to line it up. I'm hanging over here now, right? But that's because I have a gusset here that I'm have it lying flat. So I bring it along the cut edge. And I'm not happy. I shoved it up a little bit. So, and I'm not happy again, but it's just a little bit. Okay, we'll live. So again, this can be a little bit difficult because it can be slippery. It doesn't really fit on here. Just take your time. That's what I do. And if you're not sure if you're aligning it with the right edge, you can always place a piece of white cardstock or a different color cardstock underneath there. Okay, so what we are going to do is close piece C, and you can see it's large, right? This old book. And then fold piece E over. So you want to have that gusset going that way, right? So I'm going to work that a little bit. You might have the same problem. So I'm just pushing the gusset here where I want to have it standing up. And then it should fit nicely. See, you really want to have that gusset standing up, that 1/8 inch here. So you might have to work that. So let's do the same thing here. Opening up piece C and D. I have piece E, fold on the 1/2 inch, and I'm going to align it here along that cut edge of piece B. This is piece B. And burnish that. So same thing here. I'm going to make sure that I have that gusset going in the right direction. And it's probably because the inking, what I did is that it's a little, it broke down the fibers of that cardstock a little bit. I think that's the best way to explain. It's not as sturdy anymore. Okay, so this is the first base of this folio. So you have lots of area for large photos if you want to, but of course I'm going to add some more stuff. And what I want to say is this one, I have my pocket now on the outside. In my tryout I actually had it on the inside, but I put it on wrong, but that's okay. It works either way. We have the gusset here now, so we can still add something here as well. So that will work either way, so don't worry if yours is the other way around. What I have next are two pieces F, which are flaps, with one score line at 1/2 inch. I've already folded and burnished the score line, so that is done. So I'm having these prepared and I'm putting them to the side because we are going to make piece G, and I did a large acetate window in piece G. Acetate is always optional in your projects, but I really like it, and I thought even though this is a vintage album, I think still it's nice to combine those elements with it. So a large window in this pocket, and I'm going to show you in my other piece how I did this. I didn't think it was necessary to do both on camera because it's taken quite some time. That's okay. So I've inked the dented side. You know, I folded, I've mitered the corner for the pocket, folded on my flaps and inked everything up. Now I'm turning it over towards the bumpy side. And I'm going to draw my frame, and because this is a large piece, I went for a 3/4 inch border. So 3/4 inch border. So how are we going to get that? We have 3 sides with a score line, and on those 3 sides I'm going to draw a line 1 1/4 from my cut edge. I'm going to do that on those 3 sides. And then on one side here on top, I don't have a score line, so there I'm going to draw my line 3/4 inch from the top cut edge. So I always measure from my cut edge if that's possible. Then this is just something that I like to do. I'm going to make a little pinch punch. I always have a different word for it, but I'm piercing the intersection of my pencil lines. Then I'm going to get my ruler and my knife, because this is the way that I prefer to cut out my frames. You can also do this in your paper trimmer. I'm going to put my knife in that first hole that I've punched, align my ruler along that pencil line, hold my ruler down, pull my arm back to cut on that pencil line from intersection to intersection, or from hole that I've punched to the other hole that I've punched. Okay, so this is out and I can use this for something else, so don't throw it away. It's a nice piece that we can use. And of course I need to ink this on the front side only, so I'm turning it back. But you want to do this, if you're doing this, before you attach your acetate. I'm going over a little bit more rougher, because once my acetate is in there, I don't want to be having to mess around with ink here anymore. So I'm just doing it a little bit more. And I will be covering this with some pattern paper as well, right? So there we go. So then I have my piece of acetate cut to size. I've put some tape around the perimeter of my acetate, and I just like to do that around the perimeter of this frame on my cardstock as well. It's totally up to you if you want to do it on both, or you want to do it on one of, or on your cardstock or on your acetate. That works fine as well, right? This is just something that I prefer to do. Okay, so once that's on there, I can peel off that tape backing, and I will do that from the cardstock and from the acetate. Okay, that's done. And then I'm going to carefully place this on top here. It's a large piece, so don't rush yourself. Make sure you don't have any tape overhang. And make sure you stay in between your score lines. But with the measurements that I gave you, that should not be a problem. Okay, and then when we turn it over, then we have our nice frame there. So let's apply some tape on these 1/2 inches. So we can stick it on top of piece F. So for every piece, I did do the folding and the inking before I've applied my tape. Okay, let's get a piece F back in here. So we are going to mirror the pieces. So for my first piece F, my score line is on my left hand side. And I'm going to attach the pocket on there. And for attaching the pocket, I'm going to align it with the cut edge. And if I did my job right, then there is about 1/8 of an inch space here from the end of the pocket and your score line. And that's what you want. So because normally I would just rip off all my tape backings for attaching a pocket. However, this is quite a large pocket, so I'm going to do it a little bit different. I don't know, I'll let you know if it's better or not, but I'm just aligning the corner here. Try to hold that in place and then attach it just like I would do with a flap. Try to hold that in place. So far so good. Okay, I'm going to give that a burnish, remove the tape backing here, and then slowly try to stay in frame. I'm sorry if I'm out of frame, I really am. Bring it along the bottom, and I think for the large pocket this is a safe way to do this. And then fold this down. I'm a little bit away from the top edge there, but that's okay. Okay, so this is on there, and now I'm trying to show you the space that you have between the pocket and the score line. So I still have that 1/8 inch room there. So I'm going to do the same thing for this one, but now I want to have my folded edge of piece F on the right hand side, on the other side. And then I'm going to put the pocket here, again aligning it with the cut edge. Oh, I was almost going to throw my bone folder away. Let's not do that. So these are mirrored now. The opening of the pockets is on the top for both. So the book back in, I have my 2/4 inch gussets here. I'm opening this up towards the middle, and I'm going to attach these on the spine side. Now, and then they will open up like this. So if you really want to, you could also attach them on the outside, and then they will open up like that. So that's actually pretty cute to do. I'm like, okay, what am I going to do? I like that. So both is an option, right? Oh boy, oh boy. You know what? I'm going to do it like this. I'm going to attach them on the outside. Why not? Okay, this can be a little bit difficult. Yes, I can't put this flat. I can't push this 1/4 inch gusset here flat on my work surface. And that makes it a little bit easier to align this. That's one. And also here you have a little bit of space with the end of the pocket to the score line there. I felt that looked a little bit better. I had the idea of it having on that on the outside and I didn't want it to stick out. Yeah. There we go. This is nice as well. Very nice. So far so good. Let's work on our add-ons. Okay, the add-ons for this folio. What I did here is I've made a acetate pocket with a closing flap. When we open it, I've made another pocket and a flap here that we can keep closed with something in there. So a lot of acetate. And then when we open it up again, we have a stack pocket here with acetate in the bottom pocket. So this is what I'm going to add. So as you can see, I've already did one side. So you're going to need two of everything if you want to do it completely the same. So I'm going to show you on the other side what I did. And it will be the same actually. So you can just do that on the other side if you want to. So I'm going to start here. On top of piece D, we are going to work with pieces H and I, and we need a piece of acetate there. So again, I've prepared everything. I've cut, scored and inked it. So piece H is a flap, score line on one side and tape on the dented side. Fold and burnish that, and I'm going to align this on top of piece D. So be aware you have that 1/8 inch gusset here. So you're going to align that right there. And I like to turn my project for that. So I've tapered that 1/2 inch because I'm aligning it over the whole piece. So that I can hide that construction with my pattern paper when I'm ready to attach the pattern paper, right? So the flap there. And then piece I is going on the bottom here, but like you could have seen on the other side, I'm going to make a window, and I did 5/8 inch frame. So that means that on the 3 sides with a score line, you draw your line 1 1/8 of an inch from your cut edge, and on the side without the score line, 5/8 of an inch from the cut edge. And then I'm going to cut out the frame just as we did on frames before. So after I've cut it out, I'm going to put some tape around this perimeter. Okay, make sure that I have the right piece of acetate. Yes. Because I've prepared all pieces of acetate. So remove the tape backing and then we can... Oh, I forgot to ink, right? I need to ink this frame up here. Oh boy, I almost forgot. So removed all the tape backing, and now I can stick this on here. And my piece is a little smaller than the piece that I've put in the cutting guide, because I've used a scrap piece and that works just fine, but I like to give you a measurement that you are sure you can work with. So there we go. That piece is done. Let's stick it down. Yeah, I was confused for a second, but here is where I need to be. So I'm going to stick that down, and we have a little bit of a gap between the flap and the pocket, right? Oh. Oh my goodness. Let's put on some tape. That would be kind of handy to stick something down, right? I'm so used for the tape already being on there that I'm just... Okay, let's stick this down. So again, just on top of piece D, aligning it along the bottom and the sides, and be aware your 1/8 of an inch gusset. You don't want to stick it on top of that. There we go, that is in place. So this is done. I'm just going to get myself a scrap piece to put in there for now. So next up I will go to the front, and there we have piece J and piece K. So let's start with piece K. pocket, score lines on 3 sides, miter your corners, fold on those score lines, and I've drawn a frame again here. So what I did here is I went for 3/4 of an inch on the 3 sides with a score line, and on top I did 1 1/4. And that's actually pretty easy because you're going to draw your line 1 1/4 from all 4 sides for your frame, and then cut it out. Don't forget to ink. And we're almost there. It's going pretty quick actually, but okay. So acetate, large piece of acetate. Make sure you have it in the right orientation. Okay, carefully. Again, make sure you have this in the right orientation, right? And then stick it. Some tape on my 1/2 inches. Okay, there we go. Okay, so the pocket will go on the front, on top of piece E. So I'm going to align that right there. Now what I did on the other side, but it's up to you if you think that's handy or not, I open it up so it lays flat on my work surface. And then I can align it a little easier. Like that. Okay, and even though it's a large pocket, I just removed all my tape backing. And I'm going to align it along the bottom. Try to bring it along the cut edge. And then next to my score line. Then piece J is going to be the flap on top of here. So score line, tape on the dented side. And what I also did is use my punch. Let's see that I have the right one. To angle the corners there. Like that. And then of course I need to re-ink that a little bit. There we go. So for this one, I'm going to place this sideways so that I can align it like that. Trying to make sure that I'm not... Yeah, that's fine. You don't want to have any overhang, right? You can also cut off a hair. Always cut off a hair on the side if your piece is a little too long. Sometimes that happens, that you just cut it a little bit different. There we go. So you can use a magnet to keep this closed, but I will probably use something like a swing tab or a frame turner. But this is done, so for now I'm just going to leave it like this, and then we are going to open it all up. Make some space. We are going to place a stack pocket here in this middle part. So let's prepare the pieces before we stick everything down. So the pieces that we need are L and M. This is going to form a stack pocket. So for piece M, what you are going to do is you're going to cut it a little bit different than a normal pocket. You did score it on 3 sides. And you are going to cut straight, almost straight, just above the score line here. Above this 1/2 inch score line. And then you're going to cut with an angle towards your intersection. So it looks like this once you've cut. You're only going to place tape on this short side. So if you've been following me for a long time, I often do stack pockets. You probably know it by now, but if you're new to this kind of projects or to my channel, then this might be new to you. So that's why I like to explain it, right? Okay, so that piece is prepared. I've only inked 3 sides. You don't fold on the 1/2 inch score line here. You just leave it like that. Only fold on your side flaps. For piece L, I was really in doubt, but I did do a window. And what is it that I do? And I feel like I did it not right here. Let me remeasure because I've been making mistakes more and more often here. This should be 5/8 of an inch and not 7/8 of an inch. I did that recently on 2 projects. I've made a mistake like this. Okay, so 5/8 of an inch from the top edge without a score line. And 1 1/8 of an inch on the other 3 sides with a score line. And cut it out. Okay, prepared. So get it all opened up. Final bits. So first the one with the window, right? Let's get it in frame. So I gave you a measurement where I'm sure you're going to fit in between your score lines that everybody will fit. So you might want to even out that space a little bit. I removed all the tape backing and I am just going to stay away from that score line there a little bit. And then I'll probably have a little bit of space there as well. So there we go. Where's my bone folder? That's one. And then piece M. And we are just going to shove that 1/2 inch in this first pocket and make sure we're straight. Remove tape backing on both sides and stick that down. And there we go. Burnish that and we're done. Construction part is done. Now we can have the fun part with decorating this, right? So it's quite a large book. I had 1 pack of 25 sheets, 12 by 12 cardstock, and I still have some sheets left. So you can do this with 1 pack of cardstock. But it will probably take quite some pattern paper. So please keep that in mind when you're making it. So this is the construction. Thank you for watching and I hope to see you in my next video. Enjoy the rest of your day. Bye bye.